Okay, let's start. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyone Watches Women's Tennis, a podcast that is solely focused on the women's game, giving you regular updates about what is taking place on the WTA Tour, both on and off the court. Hi, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome to the 2026 WTA season. It is nice being back after such a long break. I'll be very honest, I needed it. I did need that long break. Tennis is a year-round sport and it's constant, so it's overwhelming. And I think I complain about this all the time, but because of living in Australia and the time difference, it takes up most of your day, or it takes up most of your routine. I have to plan my life around watching the tennis. So yes, I definitely needed that break. And quickly, before we get into anything else, I do want to apologize. I didn't end up rounding the year off after the WTA finals. I was away for like 4 weeks. I went back home to Zimbabwe on like a family trip. And then just lots of family things happening, events and stuff. Just the month of November and December were a lot. But now I feel a bit more refreshed. I feel like I'm ready to take on the season with fresh eyes, fresh perspective, and all of that. And I think there were a lot of exhibitions played. I don't really care for exhibitions. I don't watch them. I don't pay attention. I pay attention to tennis news. If someone breaks up with their coach or this and that, I pay attention to that. But in terms of exhibitions, I could not care less. And I don't need to consume any more tennis. In this episode, I'm going to try and make it short and quick. I think I say that almost every episode, and then it turns out to be like 40 minutes to an hour. But this one, I'm really going to try my best. So I'll be predicting the slam winners for the year, my end of year top 10, players to watch for 2026, and just random predictions. I hate making predictions, especially at the start of the year, because you just have like no information. You have some information, but you don't really know until you see people play, and not even play the warm-up tournaments, because I've watched Brisbane International. It's when you see them play Australian Open, that's when you can really like see and tell. But that's the point of a prediction. You don't have all the information. So let me stop complaining. As I said, let me stop complaining. Okay, so just before I get into any predictions, we've already had 2 tournament winners for the season, so I'll just quickly go through them. We'll start with Aryna Sabalenka, and she won the Brisbane International, retaining her title from last year, and she didn't drop a set all week. And quite honestly, not much to say. She's looking ominous. Yes, she's looking ominous, and I don't think there's much else to say. She looks in tip-top shape. Her serve looks back. Yeah. And honestly, almost equally as impressive. She would have been probably equally as impressive if the match had gone 3 sets at least. But her opponent in the final was Marta Kostyuk, and she had a great week as well with Brisbane. She beat 3 top 10 players in a row in straight sets. So that was Amanda Anisimova, Mira Andreeva, and Jessica Pegula. And I was thoroughly impressed. Don't want to go into too much, but when I watch Marta play, especially last year, she would play someone that she should on paper be beating easily, and then she would start off the match behind. She would start off the match going down a break or going down a double break, and then she would find her way back to the match and work her way into it. But she did that way too often that sometimes she would lose matches that she has no business losing. So it was really nice seeing her starting off the year like this and starting off her matches on the front foot. So I'm really excited to see where her season goes. She may be one to watch for the Australian Open. She did make the quarterfinals in 2024. So we shall see. And then the second tournament was the ASB Classic, which is played in New Zealand. And the title for this one was taken by Elina Svitolina, who, again, really struggled at the end of the year. She didn't play for like the last few months of the season, but it's nice to see her starting off the year right, and she only dropped 1 set on her way to the title. So we've got just that brief recap or brief news out of the way. Let's go into my 2026 season predictions. So I'm going to start with the slam winners, or the major winners, or the Grand Slam winners. Tennis purists hate when you call the Australian Open a Grand Slam, because technically a Grand Slam is when you have all 4 titles at the same time, when you hold them all at the same time. And the particular events are called majors, if we're being super technical. But we're not. Language changes and evolves and takes on new meaning. So everyone understands when I mean a Grand Slam, I just mean one of them. But anyway, starting with those predictions, very, very difficult. Very difficult. I started writing this script like a week ago, so I had no information and I hadn't seen anyone at the Brisbane International play. So it was a bit, difficult to be making that. But as I've seen the week, the decision I made, or the person that I picked to win the Australian Open, has stayed the same, and the Brisbane International has made it's kind of cemented as the person I predict to win. So Australian Open, as I mentioned, before I say who I think is going to win, which I'll be honest, this is probably what everyone else is guessing, and it's pretty basic, but you can't go wrong considering this person's made the final for the past 3 years. Initially, when I looked, I was like, oh my gosh, it's the start of the year. Anyone can win. I have three names that I was like, these people can take it out. But I have narrowed it down to one. I don't think Madison Keys will be retaining her title. And I think Aryna Sabalenka will win this year. The one thing that could stop her, obviously, other than some of the other players, I don't see most of the players in the field stopping her except for like Elena Rybakina, Coco, maybe Iga, but not really, or Amanda Anisimova. Those are the only people I'd see stopping her. But also the Brisbane curse. So no one who's won the Brisbane International has gone on to win the Australian Open. And that's what happened last year. Aryna Sabalenka won the Brisbane International last year, and then she went on to make the final, but lose in the third set. And I feel like athletes are very, very superstitious people. So I hope it's not in their minds, but it is. It would be in your mind somewhere. But if there's someone I believe would be able to break that curse, I'd say it's her. Yeah. So that's all for the Australian Open. That's my prediction. Basic, but it makes sense. Then moving on to the second major of the year, we've got Roland Garros. And at Roland Garros, again, there's quite a few names that pop up into my head to win the French Open. So obviously Iga, we've got Iga Swiatek, and then I've got Coco. Obviously she won last year and it's her best slam, her best surface, all of that. I've got Aryna again. She's made the semi-final twice and one final, which was last year. And I think she really, really wants to hold a Grand Slam on a surface that's not hard court. But my prediction for the winner, it's a bit left field, but not too out of the realm of possibility. I have got Mira Andreeva, the 18-year-old top 10 player. Mira's made the semi-final before. She made the semi-final in 2024. And she plays really well on clay. I also think this would be her best opportunity to win her first slam. And I know she's only 18, but we've seen her around for about 3 years, and she's been making strides and getting better and better each season for those 3 years. Like last season, she won 2 1,000 events back to back. So the only next step would be a Grand Slam. And maybe this is my own bias. I really like her and I really wanted to succeed. So who knows? But I think Mira can take out the French Open. And then the next slam we have, which is like 3 weeks later, is Wimbledon. And with Wimbledon, again, there are quite a few names that pop into your head. And also for like the past 5,000 years, I'm joking, since Serena Williams, no one's been able to defend their Wimbledon title. And I feel like no one's been consistent at the tournament to defend their title, if that makes sense. But last year we had Iga winning it. And because of how Iga's changed her play style, it worked really well for her to be able to win that Wimbledon title. But it's failing her on literally every other surface. And when I say failing for Iga, it's like making semifinals. And with Wimbledon, again, I have it's so many things. It's a factor of who do I want in my heart to win? Who do I think will win? And who should, maybe not even who should win, but like whose time is running out and I really want them to win type thing. But for Wimbledon, again, there's a few names that like pop into my head. I've got like Aryna Sabalenka again. She's always a name you bring up. And then I've got Elena Rybakina. Then I've got Iga. Maybe she can defend her title. And then you've got like the Makeda Vondrousovas of the world. And then you've got finalist who lost 6-love, Amanda Anisimova. And because I think Amanda is going to win a slam this year, I am predicting it to be Wimbledon. For a full 180. So just to turn around her history at the tournament, but also because I think it's her best chance and on that surface. Yes, so I predict Amanda to take the Wimbledon crown this year. Okay, and then for the last major of the year, we've got the US Open. Again, I'm looking at my notes. What I wrote down initially was literally anyone can win the US Open. I feel like it's the most winnable slam for literally all the players, but I am predicting the same person that I predicted last year to win it because this is a dream. And not a dream because the person won't be able to do it. 100% they can do it. They made the semifinals of the US Open last year. But I think it's something that a whole cohort of us are wishing would happen. And I have noted down Naomi Osaka to take the US Open crown. She's looking healthy, fit. Well, right now there's an injury concern, but she's looking fitter, as in she's moving better on the court based on watching her play. But I do think her game has to evolve to a certain level now against these top players. Because when she was at the height of her game, the players around her, in my opinion, were not as consistent or as elite as the current top 10 now. So I think Naomi has to take her game to another level, has to be a bit more well-rounded. But she has like 8 months to do that before it's the US Open and she can take the title and I can be proven right. Okay, so the majors out of the way. I never feel down on myself for predicting something incorrectly. I think I'm more accurate. Again, obviously, I'm just more accurate when the slam comes around. I'm a bit more accurate. I'm a bit better, obviously, at predicting then. I don't know why I'm taking it so seriously. Calm down. Calm down. So the next thing to move on would be the top 10, end of year top 10 predictions. For these ones, at first, I was trying to do the maths because maybe with rankings in tennis is based on points. And essentially each year you're just trying to do the same or even better than you did the year before. So you can gain points or at least not lose any points. So when I was trying to figure out the rankings, I was trying to do it mathematically, being like, who's got the most to gain, who's got the most to lose, blah, 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 blah. But that just becomes complex and it's difficult, okay? So I eventually did my end of year top 10 rankings just based on vibes. And a little bit of like last year's performance and seeing if people can back it up, which I will explain when I go through some of the players. But again, pure vibes. So before I go into my prediction for the end of year, I will do the current top 10 so you know where it stands. And when I say current, I mean what it was at the start of this year, not what it is right now. Because as I've said, some competitions have been played, so they've changed the rankings a little bit. So starting with current top 10, we'll start from number 1, we've got Aryna Sabalenka. Then we've got number 2, Iga Swiatek. Number 3, Coco Gauff. Number 4, Amanda Anisimova. Number 5, Elena Rybakina. Number 6, Jessica Pegula. Number 7, we have Jasmine Paolini. Number 8, we've got Mira Andreeva. Number 9, we have Madison Keys. And then to round off the top 10, we've got Ekaterina Alexandrova. That is our current top 10. So a tipper's end of year top 10, we'll start with 10 and work our way backwards because a reveal is more fun. So at number 10, I have Naomi Osaka. Then coming in at number 9, world number 9, I predict we have Jessica Pegula. And then at world number 8, again, I predict we have Belinda Bencic. She's looking lethal, by the way. She is looking good. Then at number 7, we've got Victoria Mboko. Number 6, I have listed down Elena Rybakina. Number 5, I have Iga Swiatek. Some of these ones where people have jumped a couple spots, I will explain. So with Iga Swiatek, Iga has quite a lot of points to defend this year in that she won Wimbledon, she made the semifinals of French, she made the semifinals of Australian Open. She won not Washington. Oh my gosh, I forgot the name of the tournament. She won in 1,000 and then she made quarterfinals of US Open. The reason I'm like, she might drop her ranking a little bit is because I don't think she'll be able to defend her Wimbledon title. And I don't know if she'll be able to make it to the semi-final of the Australian Open again. So she'll be losing a good chunk of points there as well. That's like my biggest reason. And I also feel as though her and her coach are going to part ways because I think, in my personal opinion, that relationship is not working. It worked for the Wimbledon, but I don't even think that's down to the coach in a way. Sue me, but I think if she changes her coach, again, it'll take a little bit of time to get in the swing of things. So I do think she'll drop down a couple or a few in the rankings to world number 5. Then world number 4, I've got Mira Andreeva. So Mira started off last year, the year, very well, and she was in the top 5 for her ranking. And then she wasn't able to defend some points, and other people were performing a lot better than her. So she finished the year at world number 8. But as I predicted her to win the French Open, I think if she does that, she can make her way into the top 5 and be a permanent fixture. I think she still has a lot of points she can gain throughout the whole season. And because she's ranked higher now, she doesn't have to play the Sabalenkas or the Igors of the world until maybe quarterfinals, semis, or the final, which gives her more of an opportunity to gain points in most competitions. Then at world number 3, I have got Aryna Sabalenka. Yes, I know. But Miss Sabalenka had a wonderful year last year. It's like half and half. She had a fantastic year. She also had a bad year because she was losing in a lot of finals, but she was making a lot of finals. And with a lot of finals comes a lot of points. And she wasn't just making 100 finals. She was making major finals and she was making 1,000 finals. So she needs to either have the same year that she had last year or even better, which I think she can do. The thing about Sabalenka right now, she's in her prime. She's in her prime slam winning years. She's in her prime title winning years. So I don't think I can ever say, oh, she's declining, because I haven't seen any sign of her declining in her tennis or anything else. And she's also mentioned that she wants to get married and have children at the age of 30. And that's in about 2.5 years. So I 100% believe she can still win more slams, win more titles, because these are her prime years. But that year that she had last year was incredible, and it'll be very, very difficult to maintain that same standard. So I think she might lose a few points here and there, but she'll still obviously be top 5, but world number 3. And it's also, I think other players are going to do really well. So they'll jump her, like they'll skip above her. And then world number 2 ranking, I've listed down Amanda Anisimova. I have this feeling, and I had this feeling when she was 17 and made the semifinal of the French Open, that Amanda is going to come and shake the tennis world, that she is someone who should be a world number 1, who should be winning slams here and there. And I think this year she will win a slam, and I think she'll be able to she's currently world number 4. So I think it's not too much of a big deal for me to say I think she'll end the year as world number 2. She had a fabulous year last year, and I think she can have an even better one this year, as in from start of the year to the end. But that's about all on Amanda. I'm just excited to see where her future is going, where her tennis career is going. And then obviously there's a big name I didn't mention. You can tell because I didn't mention that name. That obviously means they're not dropping out of the top 10. They're definitely not dropping out of the top 10, which means for me that they will be crowned world number 1 at the end of the year, and that person is Corey Goff. So I've got Corey as ending the year as world number 1 because she has a lot of points she can gain this season. I've been saying to my family, mainly my sisters, it's now time for Coco to play consistently well the whole year. Not these purple patches that she has when they get on clay, or these purple patches that she has sometimes when they get to the North American hard court swing. I want her to play consistently for the whole year, from Australian Open to the WTA finals. And I think and I hope it's on the cards for her this year. And although she didn't win the French Open, she doesn't have too many points to defend. She has a lot of places where she can gain points. Considering she lost first round Wimbledon, she made quarters in Australia, and she made only 4th round the US Open. There's a lot of space for her to gain, especially in those 1,000 tournaments where she was just losing randomly and not going as far as you would expect the world number 3 to be going. But yeah, that's all on the end of year top 10. I think that's the hardest prediction to make for me personally, because people can just come out of nowhere, win a Grand Slam, and they get catapulted to the top 10. But I also think there are some very consistent performers who've been in the top 10 for like the past 3-4 years that it would take a lot for them to be knocked out of it. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the players to look out for in 2026. So these are just some players that I think will have a good season, make a breakout. And when I say a good season, in tennis, that doesn't mean they'll win a Grand Slam, but they might do really well in certain tournaments or finally make a name for themselves and be like a consistent performer, on the tour. So I'll start off with Belinda Bencic. Belinda Bencic she's a tennis veteran. I mean, she's only 28, but last year she came back from maternity leave and she made the semis of Wimbledon, and then she made, I think, fourth round or even quarters of the Australian Open. So she had a very good comeback. And seeing her performances at the United Cup so far, I think she wants to have a great year. And I might have mentioned this on the podcast before. This is the best I've ever seen Bencic play. And she was touted to be the next Martina Hingis or whatever they like to say when you're from the same country as a champion. But I think now all this pressure and expectation is off and she can just play tennis fully the way she wants. So it'd be exciting to see what she's going to do this year. Then the next player I've got is Victoria Mboko. Victoria Mboko, you've probably heard of her. She had a breakout year last year. The breakout year is always fun. Like, she won 1,000 tournament in Canada at home. You know, she was making first, second, third rounds of slams, all of that stuff. And it's good, but it's always the second season where we see what you're made of, because you now have points to defend. People now know your name. They know how you play. You're not surprised when they face you on the court. But I think she's up to the challenge as long as she can just keep fit and no injuries get in the way. Then the next player I've got is Linda Noskova. I have been waiting since 2024, where she made the quarterfinals of the Australian Open. I have been waiting for Linda to make a bigger splash. I've been waiting for her to win a 1,000. I've been waiting for her to make final for Grand Slam or at least a semi-final, and it hasn't happened yet. And watching her last year, especially, she lost 3 finals or something like that. I don't know what happens when she gets into those later stages, but I think this is the year where she can cement herself in the WTA. I can even see her creeping into the top 10 if she has a very, very good tournament somewhere. But Linda, always had my eye on her. I like her playing style. I think she's very powerful. She's not super tall, not at all. She has like easy strength, but she also has a lot of finesse, which makes sense since she's from the Czech Republic and a lot of Czech players have a lot of finesse. So she's quite well-rounded. All right. And then the next player to look out for in 2026 I've got here is Jessica Buzas-Mainero. She's like a consistent name, consistent player on the WTA tour. Like, she doesn't play qualifiers anymore. She's always there at the slams and she does really, really well. Like, she just beat Coco at the United Cup at the start of last week. And I don't know, maybe I just really like Jessica, but I like her attitude and her play style. And I just think I've been watching her for so long, and some matches she's just so close, but she's playing someone who's like either got so much more experience at that level and she can't seem to get over the line. But I think 2026 will be the year where she gets over that line. So keep her name in mind. Then the next player I've got here is Iva Jovic, who is 18 years old and from the United States. She's currently ranked number 33, and she has like been slowly improving as a player. And I think this will be her breakout season where people know her name, because she's very close to being seeded the slams. And that ensures you don't play another seeded player until at least the third round. And although her opponents haven't seen her make a final or semi-final, she's been making second round, third rounds of slams. And when you're that young, that is a big deal. So she's one to watch out for. She's also won her first title in Guadalajara last year, and that was a 500 level event. So it was very, very impressive from the 18-year-old. So just keep your eye out for her and her name. And then the next player, I think I might be a bit premature in putting her here, but I have got Teresa Valentova from Czechia, and she might be maybe a player to watch for 2027, but I'm just going to put her name out there for 2026. I remember watching her play against Coco at the French Open. She lost in straight sets, but it didn't feel like a walkover. It felt like someone who's working their way up to be that level. And she also made final of Japan Open last year. So I don't know. I just think she's an 18-year-old who's world number 57, which is amazing all in itself. So I think she could make a splash at some big tournament this year. So keep an eye out. And so that's all I have to say on the players to look out for the 2026 season. This is what I actually hope I'm right about. The other predictions, I don't really care. But with these predictions, I think they're the ones that I hope I'm correct about. Okay, and then the last thing I'll go through for this episode. I said it again. I was like, this is going to be quick. Girl, why are you still talking? Anyway, this last section, I've got about 7 predictions. I'm just going to say them without any explanation. It's just what I think, what I feel in my heart. All right. So starting, I have a teenager wins a slam this year. Next, Elena Rybakina wins her second slam. Number 4, Iga Swiatek loses her first slam final. Naomi Osaka back in the top 10. A deep run for Venus Williams at a major or 1000 tournament. So that's semi-final or further, top 10. That's not outlandish. None of those are outlandish at all, but we'll see if they come true. We'll see if I have any psychic powers. And that was all to finish off. I want to say thank you very much for coming back and for listening to this episode. If you liked it, please give it 5 stars on whichever platform you listen on. So that's either on Buzzsprout, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And please download the episode. It helps out. Listening helps, of course, but please download the episode as well. And also, I think I always forget to plug myself, but please follow the Everyone Watches Women's Tennis Instagram page, which is at EWT Podcast. And on there, because I will be going to the Australian Open and some other pre-tournament events, I will actually be posting a lot of videos. So if you want to see what the event is like and everything, definitely go follow on Instagram. But thank you again and have a lovely rest of your week.